Hello, everyone. Hi, how are you?
Hi, happy full moon.
Yes, how is everyone doing? Let's see here. Who's in the chat? Let me scroll up. Not actually my name. I can't stay, but okay, honey. That's okay. Thank you for checking in. Hello, No More Lies. Thank you for the super chat. Hello, Shabaka. You're not feeling good? Oh, no. So everyone is going through something right now, right? I'm sweating, guys. I was rushing to get on live.
So for the toothache, moisten a regular tea bag with some warm water and place it between the gum and your cheek or wherever the tooth is. And the tannins in the tea does help with a toothache. That could be a temporary fix for you this evening.
That sounds like chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
Do you dip?
I should have a witty comeback, but I don't.
No, you're fine. Honey, I am like, my mind is fried right now. Let me see what else is going on in the chat. Um, uh, Alila Jackson. Hello, honey. I hope I pronounced your name right. You had dental work done this week and your teeth hurt too. Oh my God.
Oh
You
my
know, I was actually looking for a new dentist, to be honest. Um, let's see what else. Yeah, Miss Jackson is actually much easier to say. Wonder if that full moon in Virgo will do to your Virgo. He seems tired. He's frazzled. I don't know. I guess that's a question for Sunny. Uh, y- your sister ended yesterday, and you just want it out. Oh, your tooth. Oh, I'm sorry, hon. You need moon water? Yeah. I need to do all my rituals. I am like way behind schedule. And as a matter of fact, the peak of the moon actually happened earlier this morning. Isn't that right, Sunny?
On the West Coast, a little 15, 20 minutes after midnight. And here on the
Mhm.
East Coast, it was like 3 a.m.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So what do you have for the collective, Sunny?
Shall we clear our energy a little bit
Oh
first?
yeah, we should, right?
Yeah, it's been a little weird
a,
here. I
a
know
little
that with the
off kilter.
electricity. I don't know. Something has been going on with my electronics.
Okay, let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to go ahead and ring the meditation singing bowl and take 3 deep cleansing breaths to get started. All right.
Well, so we're buzzing
Mhm.
with the Venus Mars uh, conjunction and not as intense as the new moon a couple of weeks ago, but that is still at play with also aspects to Uranus, Neptune. Um, it's a world on fire. I'm going to try to be very conscious of um, how I'm speaking because my mind, I'm going a mile a minute in my mind. I could just go, right?
And
And
speaking of that, I just noticed your roses. Those are beautiful.
yes. Well, I have some herbs here I was going to share
Oh,
as we
okay.
get into some of the mythology of the Virgo full moon at
Mhm.
27 degrees. There's our 27 degree again that we've been carrying forward since November. 2 plus 7 equals 9. And so these are continuums of completing projects, cycles, karma, jobs, relationships, a lot of completion with, we've got a dance going on with Saturn and Venus. We're coming into closer into the end of the month in April, which is about maturity, accountability. So like I think we ended our chat last time with reminding everyone that Saturn is the disciplined parent. He makes us feel restricted. And so that energy sort of continues. So Virgo is an earth mutable sign. It rules service to mankind. So in the natural zodiac wheel, it is the 6th house, which we look at for our health and our vocation. 10th house is where we do our work. 6th house is more about what is our work. A lot of Virgos with a lot of 6th house influence are the nurses and the healers in society. This full moon definitely is bringing a lot of attention to health and well-being. It rules the nervous system. So with
Yeah.
a full moon, we might be more nervous.
Well,
And
that's why I was a little delayed because I just got a massage appointment and my whole like left hand is numb. It's like tingly, but
well, I would certainly keep trying to, let's see, I don't have it on my desk. I have this stress relief thing
oh, okay.
you do in your hand.
That's okay. You
But
can I
anyway,
just wanted to interject with that. Go ahead.
yes, it's a very nervous energy, and there's aspects with our full moon between Jupiter, Neptune, and Mercury. So, as all moon phases are, it's not just the moon phase, but we are also still continuing with the trine to Pluto, which, again, in Capricorn, these earth signs are a lot to do about health, agriculture, our food chain, our nutrition. Virgo is, the labor forces and military matters. Big emphasis on Virgo wants to serve. How can I serve? And so it's a very good time. One of the little adages about Virgo is they keep lists of lists.
This sounds like me.
Um, my Mars is in Virgo, and so I'm pretty anal about lists. If you looked around my office, I do have lists of lists. And nothing's more gratifying than to check something off my list.
I have this, and girl, I have it over here, and I have multiple sheets of paper everywhere. I'm right with you.
I'm with you. And so list of lists, efficiency. Virgo wants to be efficient and pretty serious minded, pretty focused on work. And so this is a very good time for getting organized using the next couple of weeks. I know what I've caught myself doing, which, sometimes you'll do the thing and then realize the influence of the planets and transits and how you've played them out sort of in retrospect. And I have been toting home all these like organizational things. And like I went through a bunch of old product, like to throw out stuff that was old and
I did
only
too, honey.
oh
Yesterday.
and I got these they're just organizational like acrylic, you put them in drawers so that you can sort things more easily, right?
Yeah.
And so I've just completed my first week of my new job. So that's all about getting organized at a new office. And, so it's a lot of busy energy. Mercury's rules Virgo. He is the winged messenger. You know, the unique thing about Mercury in mythology was he was the only deity that could travel between the underworld and above Earth without any trouble. You know, like the underworld as well as the gods above never bothered Mercury. He never
Mm-hmm.
had to pass any tests or earn any right to passage. He is the winged messenger, so he
Mm-hmm.
disseminates information.
Hence
Um,
the magician, right? As above, so below type.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and so that rules Virgo, and again, Virgos are very good at taking a lot of details. They're the librarian, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and represented by the Virgin holding the stalk of wheat,
Mm-hmm.
and the Virgin represents purification. You know, wanting purity, and the wheat is about separating the chaff from the wheat and only using what you need. Again, that efficiency kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, you know how I tend to uncover things when I'm looking at other aspects, and the archetype uh, mythological character that really resonates to the lunations we're going through today and the next couple of weeks would be Artemis, and she was considered the virgin huntress. That was in Greek, and in Roman mythology, she was known as Diana, the
Mm-hmm.
goddess of the wild and the hunt. Her animals were Virgo rules small animals, and so you know, like deer and fowl, and I know bears aren't small, but when you see old statuaries or pictures or artwork of Artemis or Diana, you'll usually see a stag nearby. She carried a bow and arrow because she was she was like the goddess of the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
um, she was the daughter of Zeus. There's a few stories about how she was born. Of course, Zeus was, you know, quite the man of women. He got around to a lot of women, and
Mm-hmm.
Hera, his wife, would always get really jealous and angry about whoever he had impregnated.
Mm-hmm.
So Lyra was who he impregnated, and uh, his wife had them sort of exiled to some uninhabitable island. And she first gave birth to Artemis, who in turn helped her mother give birth to her twin son, Apollo. So Artemis and Apollo were twin siblings. And
Oh.
right, so Apollo is the god of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So um, Artemis rules over things like childbirth, nurturing, um, uh, what was some other things? There was a big rivalry between Artemis and Venus because, you know, Venus was all about beauty and love, or that would be
Mm-hmm.
Aphrodite in Roman. And so Artemis and Venus had a ongoing rivalry because, you know, Artemis dedicated her life to being a virgin, and Venus was all about love. And I don't know what it was about men.
Lust.
Venus didn't like the fact that men liked Artemis, and she was um, purification. She was pure, and
Right.
that's what Virgo is all about and likes is purification. And
Mm-hmm.
she was always depicted as being like 20 years old, so she was ageless, so to speak. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she was depicted with wings, so there's sort of that angelic. A lot of times with Virgo's symbology, you'll see angels, uh,
Mm-hmm.
some kind of winged um, spiritual. It's a very spiritual energy. So this
Mhm.
axis of the full moon is Virgo, Pisces. Pisces
Mhm.
is considered the most spiritual of the zodiac. So what we've got going here is this sort of fog of Pisces that is fantasy and the imagination and creativity, and in polarity to an earth sign that is pretty efficient and pretty direct. So one of our struggles with this energy will be about our boundaries, right?
Mhm.
Pisces really doesn't know any boundaries. Virgo does.
Mhm.
Um, if I have to skip to the end of the whole analysis, what I believe is happening on our conscious or subconscious level, however you
Mhm.
want to define those, because we get into this real, like, you know, uh,
Deep psyche.
yeah, that's a really good way to put it, is coming to terms with, are we all one?
Mhm.
So in some parallel universe, our energy is all connected in these, I think I once heard it called meat suits that we occupy temporarily.
Mhm.
Um, in, keep us bound to the earth. And
Mhm.
part of that spiritual expression of Virgo is to become unattached to the earth. So there's a lot of contradiction there, right?
That's what I was thinking, like, it feels very contradictory, so now,
Yes.
like, with the collective consciousness, we're kind of, like, spazzing out, not
Yeah.
knowing, like, what to think, what to do, like, feeling very confused, right? Is that what you're,
It's,
saying?
yes, it is. And it's deeply spiritual
Mhm.
because, and something else that we may want to meditate on is our uh, desire to be connected or not connected to the matrix,
Right.
the 3D.
Mhm.
And this energy is very good for transcending what we see in the 3D.
Yeah, I've been picking up a lot of those themes in this week, when I did the Zodiac readings.
Yeah.
A lot of, like, coming to Jesus moments, like, relieving like, removing yourself from situations that just doesn't work anymore, really being honest with yourself, and just accepting defeat, right? Like, especially if you've been, trying to push a certain narrative and deep down inside it's not, it's not for real, it's you're not vibrating with that anymore, and so this week, I really feel like people are just letting things go, you know?
That's true. And you said the word vibrating. So
Mhm.
the spiritual expression of energy is through our vibration.
Mhm.
And when we are intertwined with the 3D matrix, it's very hard for us to see things in a bigger picture.
Mhm.
And that's what these combinations of energies are giving us the opportunity to do, is to not see things that are necessarily right in front of you, but to keep a big picture of, you know, it sort of continues the theme as we talked before about goals.
Mhm.
You might not be able to, what's that saying? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? You might have this enormous goal, financial or spiritual or, vocationally. Again, Virgo is all about service to
Mhm.
mankind. And so you might have some big idea for a humanitarian project
Mhm.
or a charitable organization. But the 3D matrix keeps you on the treadmill of paycheck to paycheck. And that 3D reality of, oh, I have to do this so that I can pay that, And what this energy with the spirituality of Pisces and also Virgo ask us to look deeply into our faith and what do we believe in, the law of attraction, um, the law of cause and effect,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in spiritual journeys, it it is that you are willing, like the fool, to walk off the cliff because your faith is so deep that your next part of the journey, um, sometimes you kind of have to go, baptism by fire. You have
Mm-hmm.
to go through some horrible struggle to end that karmic cycle in order to free up a new beginning. So,
So it sounds like hard times.
well, we've been experiencing a lot of difficult aspects with Pluto,
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune for the last 2 years.
Right.
I do say we're around the curve out of the worst of it. And now it's more of about the fallout of reflection of, you know, Neptune sort of spinning a narrative, and then, Virgo being down to earth. It's like seeing things for reality. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that can be difficult on so many levels. So, you know, Artemis was also the protector of animals and nature and using the moon's energy to rest and rejuvenate. The fact that you went
Mm-hmm.
for a massage today, you're doing the Virgo full moon. Anything that we could do health wise to, just make better choices or um, just be aware of our habits. And um, Saturn wants us to take responsibility, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so with the Virgo ruling the intestines and nervous system, this kind of energy can cause some, stomach upset or sleeplessness. And on my website with the lionmountainhealing.com, I did go through some of the um, herbs or things that could help. I'm really feeling my wheelhouse with this particular lunation because of the connection to health. And I apologize to anyone that's heard this, but for anyone that hasn't, um, my inspiration, I don't know, 30 years ago, came from stumbling upon a 15th century physician and astrologer named Nicholas Culpeper, who practiced in Bath, England. And in medieval times, the way medicine was practiced was to do your chart to see where the planets are now, making aspect or transiting where the planets were at the time you were born. That chart represents, as if you were in heaven, a photograph of the galaxy. And ancient people believed that this was very significant to our life path, our physical appearance, our patterns and mannerisms. So, between knowing what the chart was and what symptoms someone was feeling, back then it was all about the herbs. And so even in modern times, man-made medicine are based on the botanical formulas of plants.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into, Artemis is all about the moon and silver and uh, um, nature, really. And I wanted to show, I brought some of this out of my yard because we have this all around us. We may not know it. So this is Artemisia. It's in the wormwood family. You'll
Mm-hmm.
see different versions of it, um, silver mound, but they're silvery like the moon. And
Mhm. Mhm.
wormwood was a very powerful, it is a very powerful medicinal herb. It helps with all kinds of things like depression, digestive issues. Um, Another thing to help with any kind of issues like that through this period is bay leaf tea.
Mhm.
And I meant to bring some of that in, like, so we could have like smell-o-vision here. But so bay leaf you can get in your store dry, right?
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
if you have a bay tree and it's more fresh, you can use either one for the tea. If you're using fresh, you would kind of want to rumble it up between your hands to kind of get some of those oils going. You take a
Mm.
quart of water, a handful of bay leaf, bring it to a boil, put the lid on, and let it steep for 10 minutes. And then you would strain it, you know, because you don't want to eat the leaves. The leaves actually were believed to be dangerous to eat because of the sharp edge can hurt your intestines. So, you know, herbs are kind of funny that way, you know, another contradiction. They can have a very medicinal healing value, and they can also have a toxic value. So I just love the connections between the archetypes, the plants, our bodies, our emotions. We, you know, this is what this energy is about, is connecting the dots, that we are all interconnected to
Mhm.
this wondrous universe, or multiverse, however you want to say it.
Mhm.
And so boundaries, you know, can be hard to understand. And when you just sort of are going through the motions of your work and relationship and life and family, um, you know, boundaries really aren't given a whole lot of attention. And this full moon is going to bring attention to boundaries. Um, the the interesting love story part about Artemis being a virgin huntress is she had one true love, and that was Orion. And he was the god of hunting. She was the female version of the great huntress, and he was the male version of the hunter. And they were companions in
Mhm.
you know, in bringing food to community.
Mhm.
And through that, you can go down some rabbit holes with how they had the power of healing through food and
Mhm.
through nature and what. So they were also healers as far as the hunt goes as well.
Mhm.
And so supposedly the story goes that, you know, at some point he just wanted her romantically, and she killed him.
Wow.
So he, you know,
Was that love?
there's a couple of different stories. One was she tried to steal he tried to steal her robe, which honestly, I always felt like they were lovers. But the story goes that another version of the story is he tried to rape her and she killed him. So whether you believe that, you know, I don't know what to believe on that. But Orion, there's, you know, he's one of the easiest constellations to see in the heavens. It's
Mhm.
Orion's belt. It's the three brightest stars are his belt. You know, he's the
Mhm.
hunter with his bow and arrow,
Mhm.
and his arrow is pointing to the brightest star, Sirius. And the
Mhm.
other thing that I think we should be watching on this is Orion and Sirius are huge corporations,
Mm.
and I'm not sure what may unfold, but I do feel like discoveries will be made. And it's interesting to me how some of the modern day huge conglomerates use these old goddess and goddesses mythological names. And
Mhm.
is there a pattern there for the life lesson from the old myth that we apply to our modern day life.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you talk about spiritual journeys, um, a lot of it is about spending time alone to purify or purge uh, habits or things that no longer serve you. Um, you may find yourself losing friends or your family thinking you're crazy. And so, again, I'll reiterate there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a matter of um, where you at, where you at in your life in terms of, um, I think every decade or so, there's a natural evaluation of where you are in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's people who are born like old men and women and are mature beyond their years. And then there's, 60 and 70-year-old people who still act like they're 18. So chronological age isn't what we can go through.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the matrix, is that chronological age piece. And there are remains of a temple that was built. It was a grand temple in honor of Artemis in like 550 BC. I think it was the island of Crete. I'm not positive. It took 100 years to build, and it was larger than the Greek Parthenon, which and it's also considered one of the seven wonders of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that just takes me, and I wasn't planning to do this, but as I said, seven wonders of the world. You'll know that I really like the parabola
Mm-hmm.
periodical. And now that I think about it, for me to be sitting here holding up a periodical is very Virgo, because you want to get your Virgo something they'd really like, give them a subscription to some periodical because they love to read and things. Well, I was reading in here that they've come up with a new list of um, more seven wonders of the world they want to designate, right? So we've had the
Mm-hmm.
ancient ones, and I won't bore you with all of this, but one of them would be the Great Wall of China, um, Petra, the ancient city in Jordan, the Roman Colosseum, the Taj Mahal, Machu Picchu, and the pre-Columbian city of Itza in Mexico. So those are not currently on that list, but this article is about how there's a movement in Zurich to add these additional sites on our globe to the seven wonders of the world. So since that comes up two or three times, and we know that if something comes up two or three times or more, that we need to pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
So um, this very spiritual, fantastical, foggy, contradictory energy that we're going through. Um, One of the touch points that I think would be a helpful tool is to do that kind of research on seven wonders of the world or ancient artifacts, or even some of the modern, there's some fantastical modern uh, constructions and sculptures and things from modern artists. So, uh,
Mm-hmm.
anytime that they say you're depressed or down or your vibe is low, you've got to get your mind off of yourself. You've got to go help someone else or direct your attention on some other focus or subject. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're in a very spiritual kind of time. Certainly, spa services help with your energy to, purge the toxins. Virgo is all about purifying and, rethink your dietary habits, and you don't have to change everything overnight, but just try to be more aware of um, what you're putting in your body and how it's affecting your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, caffeine, right? There's, huge industries on coffee, and, everybody has a different relationship with that. Um, I'm more of a tea person. I do like coffee, but I'm not one to be drinking it in the afternoon, or, have to have it every morning and that kind of thing. And so with this new job, I've been taking a cup of coffee with me to the office. I'm learning new computer systems, which drives me absolutely bat crap crazy.
You're
And
okay. You got it, honey.
oh my God, I hate learning new computer systems. I hate that just about worse than anything. And um, so Mars and Virgo, I want it, perfect. I want to be in control. I want to get it done quickly. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I'm stumbling along, it just, simmers that frustration. But
Right.
anyway, I had, and again, it's not here on my desk, but there's very similar to your sprays that you sell. It's some aromatherapy, and that's where I'm heading
Mm-hmm.
with this, is use aromatherapy with this energy. And it's basically a mist of rosemary and mint. And,
Okay.
that's supposed to kind of, activate your third eye and wake you, and I equate it to kind of, okay, do
Yeah,
you smell
so the yeah,
that?
this
Okay.
is this has rosemary, and also it has what is it? Eucalyptus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think I
Um
have some of that from you, actually.
yeah, it has frankincense, palo santo, uh Dead Sea salt lavender, and sage. It actually has sage in here too. So it has a little bit of everything inside.
Well, this is a really casual office I'm in, and the people are just really down to earth. A lot of people work remotely, and
Mhm.
I'm definitely more of a morning person than anyone there. So I've been, coming in first and unlocking things. So I'm typing away this morning, and one of the guys comes in. He comes to my office, and at first I thought I was gonna, get fussed at, and he's like, what do I smell? So you're waiting for them to bitch about your cologne, or and I'm like, oh shit. And so, excuse me, I didn't mean it like that, but anyway,
No, you're fine.
I picked up this bottle. I said, does it bother you? And he goes, no, I love it. And
Uh-huh.
so what I was equating it to is, instead of taking in the caffeine, which can monkey with your nervous system, having that aromatherapy around you does help you wake up, which is why people take in caffeine. And the mint as well is sort of a calming if you feel nervous or anything. So yeah, it was a compliment, and not don't do that anymore. So I've been in offices before where people will like burn aromatherapy candles, and or wear too much perfume, and there's somebody always raising some issue
Cane.
about stuff like that. So but I figured
Well,
if
I
I
think it's because of allergies, because the smell does bother some people. But
yes,
I can see how the aromatherapy aspect would be beneficial rather than ingesting it or taking it in. It's just the same as smelling it, which is like one of our senses, so
right.
it's the same. Mhm.
And so it's making, when I say, like, just contemplate some of your dietary habits, that would be an idea. Like, you don't
Mhm.
have to cut yourself off of caffeine totally, or, cold turkey. But if you know, just each day try to replace a bad habit with a better. I'm a horrible sweets person, right? I'm way too much into sweets. So I've been trying to be more aware of getting that sweet fix through a piece of fruit, right? Now,
Mhm.
not all fruit sugar is good for you either. So here are again all these contradictions, right? You'll see something in the way they market it or brand it or package it, you know, you think it's healthy, but when you really break it down, it's not. And these are the kinds of things coming up in our world, bubbling up, that, a lot of contradictions, things that we thought might have been one way or not. And that's where boundaries kind of get weird, because in the matrix, you want everybody to stay in their lane, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
Everybody's got a lane. And then Neptune's coming along saying, take this psychedelic hallucinogenic. And I want to say Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, whatever that song of psychedelics and getting out of your head. And
Mhm.
that is the polarity that these energies are all about. Like, Virgo wants to set healthy boundaries and be healthy, and Neptune wants you to swim into the deep, murky waters of your
Take the other pill.
All right, just take a pill, period. So,
So
then,
it's kind of like the other boundary. I know that there's something called ayahuasca, and people,
yeah,
it's natural, right? But do it because it's gonna help you. I mean, like, I guess
it's
it's kind
trying
of
to,
like a.
we're in times of trying to open our vision,
Mhm.
and also because there's a lot of contradictions and a mishmash of information, then we really can only rely on our own intuition. And
Mhm.
um, where Virgo is the earth energy, Pisces is the water energy, and Pisces is extremely psychic. So we're in sort of like, I think sometimes Saturn transits do test us because we feel restricted and we have to find alternative ways to get our needs met or to find satisfaction. And depending on how fixed you are, that might be more challenging than for other people.
Mhm.
Um, Also, let's see. So we're on the 18th. So in 2 days, on the 20th, we have the spring or vernal equinox. March
Mhm.
20th, the sun will go into Aries. Aries in the natural zodiac is the beginning of a new year.
Mhm.
So we're sort of on we're in this full moon completion energy, but very soon here, very shortly, we're in a new beginning kind of energy. And
Mhm.
this moon is also called the worm moon in Native American folklore because it's in the northern hemisphere when the earth is getting warm enough for worms to come to the surface. I've already seen in my yard shells from the birth of baby birds, so we have that whole coming up from the ground or the underworld into the light. We've come out of, and this again is in the northern hemisphere. We've come out of the winter of that cocoon and being somewhat sedentary, and now the earth is warming and the birds are, reproducing, and we're ready for a new growth cycle.
Mhm.
So in 1993, um, I think it was AFAN. There are several large international associations for astrologers. Um, the one locally here that I helped start and ran for many years, and I've not been associated with any of them with a long time, but was National Council for Geocosmic Research. And, these are groups of professional astrologers that it goes back to the Dead Sea Scrolls and the ancient doctrine or language of astrology. It's not about the newspaper column and what's your sign and where's your love and money kind of thing, but it's the deeper
Mhm.
philosophical study and watching the really remarkable historic cycles, which we've gone over a lot recently. Um, in anticipation of this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction coming up in April. But in 1993, the spring equinox was designated International Astrology Day. So if you were to
Oh.
go out on the web and type in International Astrology Day, you'd see all these different organizations holding webinars. And the whole purpose of it was to get people to inquire about astrology. Or it's interesting how the internet has changed a lot of subjects that were taught. It's hard to teach dance or yoga or some of these, more interactive arts through this electronic highway. A lot like Tai Chi. I've taught Tai Chi for years. And yeah, you can watch a video, but part of Tai Chi is the energy that you are moving and sharing by representing items in nature.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in a dance studio with a group of people going through a Tai Chi form, that group of energy is part of the experience, and we lose it here. We lose
Mm-hmm.
it here. Now, I'm old and old fashioned. And so
Mm-hmm.
always liked teaching astrology in classrooms and people, and we shared charts and we spoke of experiences. And now it's more of this forum of, you know, I'm pontificating, ideas and theories about astrology. And, yes, there's chat, and it's just not the same as being in person. So
Mm-hmm.
International Astrology Day was designated to try to get people to inquire more.
Get out of their house and meet other people.
Yeah, and we used to have these monthly chapter meetings, and we would have guests from all over the world in. Um, some of the most famous authors, and I don't know if high end is the right word, but the guys that wrote the columns in Vanity Fair and Vogue, and really had made quite a good living on doing nothing but astrology. And you know that's fantastic. And so everybody finds their niche, and this isn't a good week for a new taking up some sort of new study.
Mm-hmm.
Virgo wants to stimulate their mind. It's about Mercury and communication and circulating information. So uh, I do want to touch a little bit on the historic cycles because it's quite fascinating. So we still have our square in conjunction with Neptune, Uranus, the trine to Pluto. So I want to just lay down here, and people can study at their own desire some of the things or rulerships that we're under the influence right now, so that you can see it coming up in your world around you. But so Neptune represents pharmaceutical companies, poisons, drugs. um, Recently there were 97 pharmaceutical companies uncovered who were involved in bioweapon labs. And I'll leave it there. But that's very Neptunian, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Poppy fields in Afghanistan, there's been some speak of heroin and uncovering large drug trafficking problems. That's all Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
Uranus is about tent cities and refugees. Been seeing a lot of that. And in Madrid, Spain, they had historic red dust storms. I mean, the dust was so bad, people had to stay in, and it was real thick everywhere. Uranus is about storms. As we and also electronics. So I've been seeing more talk about new types of ATM machines going up around the world, and the need, like there's some sort of cyber warfare there, like a cyber warfare, as opposed to World War One, boots on the
Mm-hmm.
ground. So let's see, some other things that this moon opposite Neptune that I found really interesting was uh, close here to the East Coast in the Chesapeake Bay. There is another barge named Evergreen blocking the passageway, like it did, was that last year that the barge got sideways in the Panama Canal. Okay, so that's
Mm-hmm.
happened again, right? So that's another transit of Neptune.
Neptune is jacking people up.
Neptune rules the seas and waterways, right? And it's an interesting energy, you know, when you start seeing things in your world and your reality, and then what planets those items fall under the rulership. I just think it's fascinating. I know a lot of people get very frustrated that astrology is not robotic. I mean, even though you can have a conjunction or some big stellium of planets one day,
Mm-hmm.
that day could come and go and nothing happen. The vibrations of energy are boundless. This is what I'm getting back to about boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we had the um, Saturn Pluto conjunction 2 years ago, 2 years ago, we're not out of that,
Well,
right?
when does that whole thing?
Probably not more till the end of 23.
Wow,
So
so we have like another like a year and a
about a
half.
year. Pluto goes into Aquarius March 24th, 2023. So Pluto, you know, that's a huge shift from Capricorn. So
Mm-hmm.
Pluto in Capricorn has been tearing down structures of government,
Mm-hmm.
tearing down and reconstructing our value system, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
about moral values. So there's this interesting Neptunian haze of things that have had people somewhat, I don't know if anesthetized is the right word, or just, I know I have a friend that when you start really trying to piece apart history and what we're going through now and how profound of times we are in, her reaction is, I just don't care. I don't want to talk about it. You know, it's like, you know, the Matrix, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
about cooking dinner for the husband and, you know, getting the jacket for the grandson. And, you know what I'm saying? It's the 3D focus. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a
She
large
she
movement
wants that whole programmed way of living,
and some kind of false sense of security.
right?
So that's another part of the boundaries is
Mm-hmm.
um, you, we have something in our mind that connects boundaries with security.
Mm-hmm.
And it might even tap back to that mass formation theory, you know, that whether it's good or bad, groups of human beings like to bond over something, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like that boundary of their, to have their security. And you know, one of the interesting parts of the Eastern Europe narrative right now is that particular country has never technically in writing had its boundaries affirmed.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that interesting that we have all this focus on a part of the world that there's no documentation that designates what their boundaries are? They were
Mm-hmm.
once part of the huge Soviet Union, which has been, been broken up into many different countries. But just very interesting times, if you look at it and what the planets represent. Um, it's just very interesting. But anyway, so what I also got into with this, and I hadn't done this in a really long time, and it was fun, and I wanted to share it. Where is it? I have an herbal tarot deck.
Oh, I do too.
You do? Is it the
Mm-hmm.
same one?
No, mine's a little different. Hold on.
I don't have the box still. This one is by Michael Tira and Candace Canton.
Let's see here. Mine is called the Herbiary um, Tarot. Um, oh, here it is, all the way in the back.
Well, Virgo rules herbs and health. So I thought it appropriate to bring out. Oh, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, what I did was I did a Celtic cross spread because I didn't want to take up people's time, like having to look up the cards because I hadn't messed with these in a long time. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to show you how it's confirmed this lunation through through our herbs, and in this case, through the tarot cards.
Okay, yeah.
The
Interesting.
the first card, I guess, what I always considered the soul seeking the reading was the Queen of Wands.
Okay.
And her herb is raspberry leaf.
Mm.
And raspberry leaf is an astringent. It's if you're a woman going through menstrual problems or menopause, any kind of reproductive organ area of the female body is greatly uh, nurtured by like raspberry tea, uh,
Mm.
anything raspberry,
Okay. I
organic.
actually have some of that. It's called Foxylicious if anybody's
Oh,
interested in my
cool.
tea.
Well, it is also it aids in childbirth, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
natural anti-inflammatory, and it
Mm-hmm.
helps with nausea. And
Okay.
on a spiritual level, of course, the Queen of Wands is the creative queen. So this is about tapping into your creative um, psyche. So then we had as a focus of this moon, because I did a prayer on getting messages for this full moon in Virgo. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the Four of Wands, and
Mm-hmm.
that's fennel seed that you see blooming there. I don't know if
Oh,
you can see
okay.
the plant
Yeah.
very well,
Mm-hmm.
but interesting because fennel seeds aids digestion. So we
Um,
have a Virgo moon that represents the digestive system, and you'll be amazed at how many messages came through with herbs and things that help with digestion. So I thought that was really cool. Spiritually, this is about balancing.
mm.
Okay, so then we had the Nine of Pentacles, and that says up there dark grapes. And a lot of people might take that as a little bit of red wine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So, dark grapes, and there is a difference between what the green ones and the dark ones will do for you, but it's basically a blood tonic
Uh-huh.
with iron. It has iron. It can be, I keep
Hmm.
moving, I'm sorry, a diuretic.
I didn't know that. So, what is that? What kind of grapes? Dark
Dark.
grapes?
Uh-huh.
Ah,
And
and
so
oh, so that's good for like women who are also on their menstrual is
it's
to eat.
very interesting how all of these cards, and they did fly out. They, I didn't, uh,
Uh,
anyway, it kind of
yeah.
supports our message with this moon. And Nine of Pentacles is about prosperity. So when you're talking about getting more efficient and more organized, you open
Mm-hmm.
yourself to potentially, getting rid of waste or finding a more efficient way of doing something, which ultimately could put coins in your bank. So
Mm.
then we have the Seven of Cups.
Okay.
And that says it is represented by the juniper berries.
Oh, okay. I couldn't see.
I know, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, you're fine. No, you can read it. It's just I wear glasses too, honey.
They're these are old cards that I feel like the colors have faded some. But anyway, so this is another diuretic
Mm-hmm.
and it helps the urinary tract, juniper berry, and
Uh,
aids with diabetes. So I
so
don't,
juniper berry, you serve it as like a tea, right?
you can, yeah.
But it's
It's
not something
also
that
a
you could.
dried, it's also a dried herb used in Mediterranean food.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know how else you could use it. Mhm.
And so interesting how our last couple of cycles, we keep talking about blood, don't we?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Bloodlines, Mars,
Mhm.
Venus, bloodlines, finances.
Mhm.
And so this also represents prosperity.
Mhm.
So we have a couple of, I almost feel like part of this moon deals with, um, upgrading systems to be more efficient that
Mhm.
ultimately do make you more abundant. Let's see. Then we have temperance. And most people are probably going to be familiar with echinacea. These are very
Mhm.
popular, beautiful plants. And echinacea is marketed widely for immune system support.
Mhm.
If you have a cold or flu and you go to the health food store, all of their remedies have echinacea in them.
Mhm.
This is about purification,
Mhm.
which is our Virgo theme, and the immune systems. It tempers heat in the body. And
Hmm.
reminds us that there is strength through purity.
So echinacea is also good for like if you have like a temperature, like a fever.
Yeah.
It breaks fevers.
It bottom line boosts the immune system.
Okay, got it. Huh.
So that's a really good one to have on hand, or you can take it as a supplement every day. So then the Empress came out.
Mm.
And the Empress, let me get my notes in front of me so I'm not doing this weird, whatever it is I'm doing.
Yeah.
Dong Quai. Okay, so Dong Quai is a Chinese herb, and it's very similar to ginseng.
Mm.
It's a tonic for women. It helps with the blood and hormones. It relieves cramps. It aids in fertility. And the Empress spiritually is about new beginnings, new possibilities.
Hmm.
So in a full moon, we're at a completion cycle. We're at the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. So there's new possibilities. We're closing out cycles to have new ones begin.
Sounds like babies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, projects can be babies, right? And then we have the sun.
Uh-huh.
And
Angelica.
yeah, I used to
Okay.
grow angelica. You can candy the stems. It's sort of an
Hmm.
old fashioned candy. Um,
Hmm.
it's a stimulant and it promotes circulation and it helps arthritis.
Oh,
So,
I need that.
so through helping your circulation, you can help with stiffness or any kind of rheumatoid kind of condition.
Mm,
And the
okay.
sun reminds us to have earthly joy and contentment.
Hmm.
These are all really amazing cards considering our lunation, right?
Oh, yeah,
We have
definitely.
we have the Seven of Wands, and that's
Okay.
wild ginger,
Okay.
another stimulant,
Mhm.
um, another herb to help with circulation.
Mhm. Keeps you warm.
And what it also is, Seven of Wands is about standing up for yourself and boundaries.
Mm.
So I love how these have just sort of reaffirmed all of our speculations about this full moon. Also,
Mhm.
anyone who needs help quitting smoking, you can
Mhm.
get some ginger and just slice it really thin and just suck on a piece of ginger, and it will help with your cravings. Or um, it's a really good herb for a lot of things.
Shoot,
And
I'll
then
be chewing it and eating it up.
yeah, and lastly, that the outcome of the full moon was Eight of Cups. And
Mhm.
this is an herb I have not grown. I'm not familiar with it, called gravel root.
Uh-huh.
It helps with the urinary tract. It's a tonic and diuretic.
Mm.
And the Eight of Cups reminds us to explore for deeper meanings.
That's why you need 8 cups. You need to drink that with water.
So just a kind of a little different twist on some of the tarot, traditional meanings.
Yeah, also, it sounds like a really good detox, if you want to, like, really purify or cleanse your body, like, get you some gravel root, drink some water and,
Bay
you
leaf
know,
tea.
bay leaf tea,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm convinced that bay leaf tea is probably a really good tonic to keep around when I don't know that I finished. Once you strain this mixture that you've boiled, you can actually like keep it in your refrigerator for like a week. And
Mhm.
it's recommended to drink like a cup every day for 2 weeks and just see, how you do feel.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
so I also went into some of the crystals that with healing, it's believed that if you place a crystal, this is citrine, and this is
Oh,
another.
that's a nice piece. I think this one right here is citrine.
So, like if you laid down and placed this in your upper stomach and
Mhm.
meditated on, calming your nervous system, seeing your circulatory system at its most efficient. These are all Virgoian themes. So that's
Mm.
how, like, some people don't like to drink teas or eat funky herbs. You can,
Mhm.
bring out your crystals. Another is jasper.
Mhm.
It's good for these kinds of ailments with indigestion and nervous system issues. And then also tourmaline. Now, tourmaline
Mhm.
is an interesting crystal and for a lot of things, not just indigestion, but I've had jewelry and tourmaline stones for warding off negative energy. Like if
Right.
you're around a large group, tourmaline can, deflect taking on other people's negativity. So
Mhm.
those are just some other kinds of ideas for healing, whether it's through your herbs or your crystals. Of course, any kind of uh, a good sweat and meditation to move the energy on helps your vibration. And that's what we're here doing, is trying to purge these um, old and worn out patterns that don't serve us anymore, because Virgo is all about service. And the
Mm.
way we can best serve others is if, most of the times, I think all of us in forums like this, as you've gone through some struggle or miserable thing so that you can help someone else get through it. So you can
Mhm.
be the person on the other end saying, well, yeah, and look, you're going to make it through that too. One of my new bosses today got into, he had lost his father a few
Mhm.
months ago, 4 months ago. And, uh, it's been 22 years since I lost my father, but, talking to someone who was still in the grief and
Mhm.
he's looking after his mom, um, because his parents were married like 50 years. So, it's a whole change in the di- dichotomy of the family. And
Mhm.
he's married with kids, so teaching young children about the death of their grandfather and stuff like that. So that is a pattern that, just repeats with a spiritual journey is you will come across people that are going through something that you're familiar with, and there's just something about being able to, you know, stand there and talk about it without reducing yourself to tears, that there's always healing. There is
Right.
always, you can't always stay in the same energy. And hopefully, um, all of these modems like astrology and tarot and herbal medicine and the crystals and stones are natural ways for us to try and get through uh, rough waters, because we're
Mhm.
in times that are historic and ever changing. And my one final message really for this evening, after going through looking at what we're doing now and the spring equinox, and as we get into April towards the Jupiter Neptune conjunction, which is historic. It has not been in that sign since like 1856.
Mhm.
So, and there were historic floods back then. Um, so, and we talked, I didn't want to rehash that again because we talked about it last time. But my point is that, one of the philosophies or theories behind astrology is that you work with your spirit guides on the other side to cast your chart, right? You choose when you want to be born, where you want to be born, the parents you were born to.
Mhm.
And, there's the whole theological debate about predestiny or not, and I don't, I don't, I don't even I don't even know where to go with that. You
Mhm.
believe whatever you believe. And what I've always felt is yes, you have this map, your chart, but you also have free will. And that's where I was kind of touching on. I think people get frustrated that astrology is not absolute.
Mhm.
It shows you potentials, it shows you patterns, and your free will can predicate whether or not you choose to go here or there. There's no right.
Very similar to like a channeled messages from spirit, you know? I mean, I could channel a message one day, but it's really up to the free will of how the direction, you
Right,
know,
right,
yeah, it goes because it could change on a daily basis. It doesn't have to stick to that because everything is fluid and
right.
um yeah, you just can't say that, it's going to be this, you know.
I do feel like once you have had some kind of profound energetic experience, there's really no going back to the matrix,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Oh,
And
yeah, once there's a strong enough energy, then yeah, that's pretty much what the
and very
verdict will be.
much like-minded people do find each other, and
Mhm.
that is a really positive thing about the electronic highway is how it connects people all over the world with similar hobbies, philosophies, whatever it might be, subject matters. And we're just in a really wondrous kind of fantastical time. And I think it's only going to get more so, and I feel like the tools that we talk about here are things that can help make the journey, more enjoyable, and not an arduous struggle so much, but that,
Mhm.
if you are going through something really difficult, anyway, to me, it's like, okay, somewhere deep down in my soul, it's like, I chose this. I wanted to be here. But I'm an astrologer, and that is the theory. So that works for me. That might not work for everybody, but my point is, it's like, find what works for you and be
Mhm.
committed to it. And
Mhm.
I think part of these historic times is a lot of things that have been in the matrix have been spun, and we'll learn and discover um, mysteries that have been hidden. And
Mhm.
that's, you can either, that's kind of the teeter totter of spirituality. You can either focus on the fear or get excited about the unknown. And that's where I think these tools, and especially crystals and things with vibration and energy,
Mhm.
it's like that assists our vibration and energy to see the bigger picture. And so we've come full circle here this evening with starting out, see the big picture, try not to be too dialed into the matrix and what's right in front of you, because as things unfold, you may see, we're in an energy with Uranus where earthquakes, storms, explosions, Neptune is all about um, toxic gases. And, you could see another scare event with a nuclear plant, things like that. We're in
Mhm.
that energy. And so
Oh, yeah.
we can either be fearful or use these tools in meditation, or, a walking meditation, or, just whatever helps your mind feel calm. And I think
Mhm.
those dietary change, habits affect our nervous system. This Virgo full moon is an extremely important lesson in just taking care of ourselves, our bodies, and being aware of how substances that we take in, whether it's alcohol or food or whatever,
Mhm.
prescription drugs,
Mhm.
whatever it is, I think that we're in this energy of being more aware of how does it make us feel.
Right.
I have a
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what's going on because, that was the vibration that I've been picking up all week. I have even picked up on how health is really important this week for the collective. Without health, I mean, what else you got?
right.
Are you gonna keep, like, doing what you're doing without stopping and really taking good care of yourself, and this is in regards to food because it's what you, food is what you are, right? You are
Are we
what you
eat?
eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, like, if you're eating unhealthy, then you are unhealthy, and it's like, well, am I that unhealthy because I want that, sweet cake? You're like
The sweet is what, and I've been trying to be better at the grocery store. If I don't bring it home, I don't eat it, right? But
Mhm.
I always seem to justify picking up something. And I was in the store recently, and I almost got a little angry about how the food industry has addicted us to sugar. The corn
Mhm.
syrups and all of the hidden sugars, bread turns to sugar in your system, that we've just sort of mindlessly accepted for generations.
Mhm.
And it just spurred something in me, like, um, it's not all our fault. You know, and it's all got that's that Pluto reconstruction, right? It's all got to
Mhm.
purge. Virgo wants to purify. I heard an interesting talk about, um, you know, if you're in an area where you're experiencing food shortages or empty shelves in your store, it has nothing to do with the supply chain. It has to do with higher powers at B purging all of the hormonally manipulated foods out of our um, supplies. And so the more you start seeing like ugly vegetables and ugly fruits, you know, we're getting back to less manipulation at the agricultural level. And interestingly enough, Virgo rules agriculture and the farmers and the food purveyors. So, you know, all
It's
of this
funny.
is
My twin had a compost pile when we were together.
that is so weird that you said compost pile because
Oh, you have one too?
well, that was one of the analogies of this energy that we're in is,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
over the last 2 years, we've kind of been, not kind of, we have been in extremely rough vibrations.
Mhm.
Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, the big hitters in the sky, and they're all representative of major life changes,
Mhm.
major philosophical changes in humanity. You know,
Mhm.
this isn't just an individual thing. And the analogy was that it's like a compost pile, right? There's a chemical reaction that happens as that stuff breaks down, and that's
Mhm.
somewhat what's happening to our world is, you know, we've been piling on, and it's breaking down. And
Mhm.
ultimately what happens though, compost becomes a wonderful nutrient, organic. uh,
Mhm.
we used to have a whole lot bigger like farm area in my home than I have now. I'm deduced to a much smaller area, but I always used fish emulsion, which is basically ground up fish parts.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's a wonderful fertilizer. It's completely organic. And this is where I'm frustrated too with trying to figure out how do you make the better choices, because even things that say they're certified are not.
Mhm. Oh, I know because I went through the whole, process of, getting organic certification.
Right.
Um, and
Too.
it's like, well, how do you know? Like, but these people, they go out and test, but it's under an umbrella,
Right.
and it's free for
And
all.
it's
So,
money, right? You have to pay
yeah,
money to get
I had
those.
to pay for the
Right.
organic
Right.
certification. So,
Right.
yeah, I get it.
Right. So Pluto in Capricorn is all about the government and reconstruction and breaking down. Virgo is all about efficiency and breaking down things which are no longer needed. Our government
Mhm.
has gotten way blown out of proportion. Overreach is an understatement.
Well,
But
I think the whole globe is seeing this.
yeah, and the wasteful kinds of agencies or, you know, research projects that,
Mhm.
you know, take away from what, you know, we really need in terms of purified water and healthy meats and vegetables and foods, and not all of this manipulation. And it's just very disheartening that we're finding out all of this. You know, we're finding out sort of we've been rused, and that is Neptune, right? We've had rose colored lenses on and just take for granted that what it says on the package is what it is. Um, you know, the whole thing about where something is manufactured and where it's packaged, you know, can be totally different countries.
Oh, let me tell you this real quick. So,
Oh, yeah.
I eat cereal every morning, okay? And there's 2 different brands. I did a test about eating these 2 different cereals, and they're both like Cheerio looking things, okay? One is actually Cheerios. The other one is like it's called, like grains or something, but it's not Cheerios. It's kind of healthy and it's organic, and it's a small company based out of Texas that makes
Oh,
the cereal. So I did a test because I noticed that whenever I ate Cheerios, okay, which is supposed to be nutritious and healthy for you, I actually felt agitated. I gained weight from eating those Cheerios, and I didn't feel good. And also, I felt hungry for whatever reason.
yeah,
Now, I ate the other organic grains that look like Cheerios from a smaller, like mom and pop, cereal
right,
company. I feel good. I don't gain weight, and
right.
I just it carries me into lunch.
Isn't
So,
it interesting how, so I think that you are representative of what a lot of people are focusing on now, that
mhm.
like reading the labels more
Oh, I
or
read the labels. It says this product is bioengineered
whatever that is.
Cheerios.
Right.
And I was like, okay, but then if you look at the bigger picture, what company produces Cheerios, right?
General
And
Mills, I think.
well, and then, and I buy my son cereals from that company. I'm not going to lie, he eats it. But then I'm not him and I'm not experiencing like what he is experiencing.
Right.
And I don't want to because I know myself, like when I eat that, I don't feel good. But he seems to be okay, but he's younger. But I'm much older and I'm more sensitive towards foods. And so I notice these things. And yeah, so I'm very picky with eating organic foods because I do notice that eating organic and the non-organic foods, they have a different taste, and you actually feel different
Yeah.
eating like especially broccoli. I did a comparison. I ate organic broccoli and I ate, the broccoli that looks really fresh and,
Right.
look good, right? I did a test, no salt, no nothing, just steamed broccoli.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
And
organic
more
broccoli
flavor.
tasted delicious.
Right.
But, the whatever, the regular broccoli, it looked nice, but it
Right.
didn't taste good. So it's very similar, let's just say, to like people, right? On
It's
the
very
outside, it
interesting.
looks good, but on the inside tastes like shit.
Well, you just triggered a memory. This would have been back in the early 90s. My mother and I uh, had what I would call a little cottage industry growing organic herbs. And
Mhm.
in my area back then, no one gave a rip
Crap.
about anything being
Organic.
organic.
Uh-huh.
But we were always farmers and gardeners, and we made like a medicinal herb garden, and we would make vinegars and uh, sachets, and we'd sell the plants. And I did an experiment with some family and friends with basil.
Oh, okay.
I did I grew a patch of basil totally organically, and I
Mhm.
did a patch of basil with Miracle Grow.
Right, right, yeah.
And when I had some crop to pick and whatever, I made these little pizzas, like the little on an English muffin type pizza thing
Mhm.
with just like the tomatoes and cheese and basil. And the thing was, the organic basil plants, uh, were not as big and bushy.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the, you know, Miracle Grow ones, I just had tons of it. Well, it was the same thing. And it was a blind test. I mean, nobody knew
Mhm.
because I diced it up really little, like you couldn't tell from looking at it which was which. And hands down, the flavor from the naturally grown, even though it didn't produce as much foliage, the flavor was much more concentrated. You didn't need as much of it.
Mhm. Mhm.
In the falsely engineered style, you got a
Mhm.
big bushy plant, but the flavor essence was not there. So
Mhm.
there is something to it. The thing that I hate battling is a lot of the stuff they call organic now really isn't. It still has pesticides. It still has um, government regulated.
I think there's no like they let some of the stuff pass, right?
Yeah, and really, unless that's where they're talking about the trend. This is a very Virgoian trend of
Mhm.
the local farmers markets. Virgo also rules beekeepers. I've always wanted to investigate having beehives because they talk about how the bee population is being killed off by all of these mass produced pesticides and everything.
Mhm.
Well, this trend of more farmers markets so that in your area you're getting access to what was grown, you know, in the soil where near you by
Mhm.
people who are not a big corporation with,
Mhm.
mass production and all of that regulation. And here locally, there's a really great one. I'm looking forward to it starting here anytime now. And there's a beekeeper who comes, and of course he has the honey, but he also bags up bee pollen, and it's just like
Mhm.
a kind of a large grain,
Looks like a
granular.
nugget.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so we're coming in northern hemisphere here. We're coming into the spring. The pollen, has already started coming out. You might react to that. And taking a spoon of that bee pollen every day is the greatest medicine of all. And it's totally natural. And, he's within the area. So that pollen is being harvested by the plants that are here. And
Mhm.
so Virgo is and has brought the trend of being more aware of what food are you eating, where does it come from.
Mhm.
I have a elderly.
Virgos like to cook too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my mama.
uh, and
She
be
cooks a
perfect
lot.
about it, yeah. So
Yeah.
the thing we
Yeah.
haven't mentioned about Virgo and what drives them crazy is realizing that there's no such thing as perfect. So
I
they
know.
want to be perfect. There's no such thing, and accepting that is the hurdle to get.
And the thing about Virgos is they're very slow workers. I have to put out there. They're slow. I'm sorry, Virgos, if Virgos are in here, but they're slow.
Yeah.
It's because they're perfectionists,
Yeah.
and like you said, they
There's
can't.
an element of procrastination that comes along with that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's the waffling, wanting to make it perfect and sort of paralyzed from doing anything because, well, if I can't do it perfectly, instead of just trying to inch along, making the best decisions we can with the information that we have.
Mhm.
Um, I have a elderly friend. I think I can't believe this. I think she's 78. You'd never know it. She still works part time and is very active. She doesn't take any of the pharmaceuticals. Like her doctor's always trying to get her to take this or that. And she'll tell him, I take all these supplements and I, get my minerals and things through food. She's very particular about food. And I guess it was a year or so ago, she made mention of she won't buy any produce from a certain country or whatever because she had read something about formaldehyde being one of the treatments, and darn if ever since she planted that in my brain, I've started looking at where things are coming from. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like, but the thing there is you can't assume anything because here in our country, they do some horrible things to our food.
mhm,
So there may be a smaller country that does produce something closer to an organic. It's just too bad it's gotten so detailed, but that's so
mhm.
Virgoian, you know what I mean? The details.
Right, right.
Yeah, and sorting through, and getting rid of what doesn't work or doesn't serve. So yeah, this is it's a great time for turning over a new leaf and just being more aware of, you know, what you
I
said.
have a question.
Yes.
Where can I find a bay leaf tree?
Well,
Or so should I just look for a bay leaf plant for seeds and
it
grow
is
the
a tree.
tree?
They grow naturally in Brazil to be like 25 feet tall. I have
Ah,
one in my yard, but it doesn't get that tall. I
uh-huh.
was gonna say I'll send you a couple of um, snips of mine, and
Oh,
or
okay.
but you could also use dried bay leaf that you get from your spice supplier. When
I
you
know, but I'm like you. I wanna be like the virgin and go out to
it's
my
it's
garden and pick it fresh.
look in your local nurseries. It's a laurel.
Laurel. Oh.
Yes, it's in the laurel family. You have mountain laurels. You have different genus of the laurel, and bay
Uh-huh.
is under that category.
Oh, okay.
I found mine originally. It was only like, I don't know, 6 inches tall
Mhm.
in an herb. Once a year, there's this festival here. It's called Herbs Galore, and growers from all over the place, all over the East Coast, really bring their products and their plants. So I think this originally originated from North or South Carolina. So uh,
Hmm.
just shop online for herb plants, and I know
Mhm.
you'd find one.
Okay, yeah, I bought my Bodhi tree from some
You
dude in
did,
Texas, yeah, and he sent
yeah.
me a tree through mail. I was like, "Wow."
I have ordered things like hydrangeas through the mail where you get just like a little plastic bag and a root, and
Uh-huh.
they take a lot longer, I mean years, to really get
Mhm.
established, but it's kind of fun to watch them grow, a little bit year
Mhm.
after year. And so, yeah, definitely Virgo is about gardening, the gardener, the farmers, the beekeeping, all of these, nature things.
Mhm.
Um, and, everybody's different, like how they handle their stress or um, what works for them. There's people who run to deal with
Mhm.
stress. Different sports you can do or whatever, or just sitting quietly and reading. Mine's always been digging in the dirt my whole life. I've
Mhm.
always decompressed and feel less stress when I'm, planting flowers or, gardening somehow or another. And
Mhm.
this will be my third year that I'm trying to focus more on vegetables. I've always had a lot of herbs and flowers. Um, and I've been trying to get an area, the soil nourished and everything to do better production with vegetables. And so
Do that
it's very,
compost pile.
I know it's very rewarding.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Um,
yeah, my mama is a gardener, actually.
yeah,
Yeah, so, whenever I get my plot of land, when I'm crossing fingers,
yes,
um, she's gonna help me, teach me how to do a garden, but she would grow, like, green onions, garlic, we had a fig tree in our yard.
we
We
love
also grew
fresh figs.
cucumbers, cilantro, tomatoes, um,
It's a
we
lot of
had different fruit trees, yeah,
And that's
so
why, I get concerned about the bee population, because to have a successful garden, you have to have the pollination.
mhm.
And, our huge corporations have taken over smaller farms and farming and, polluted the soil and the air. Um,
Mhm.
there was one time a grant you could get in my state. They would give you money to do beekeeping. And I really wanted to do that, but I got kind of freaked out about being stung, or you know what I'm saying? It was like, I
No,
want to do
basic.
it,
Well,
but I'm kind of nervous about being around a whole bunch of bees.
it's funny you said that. My grandpa was a beekeeper, and
Really?
yeah, he's a bee man. But
Was he a
so
Virgo by any chance?
I don't even know. My mama doesn't like my grandpa
Hmm.
because he was more like
Oh,
oh, what is it, like Zeus?
oh yeah. So look what I pulled out.
Oh, you have it, yes.
Yeah. Okay. You wanna, what do you wanna add? What do you want?
Tag team.
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah, I mean, let's do this. How about let's just do one card for each person of the zodiac. You
All
want to do
right.
that?
We'll
Okay,
start
yeah.
with Aries.
Okay. I have wife.
I have missing you.
Oh, so what I'm getting with that, let's see here. There's announcement possibly about a wife or, a
Mhm.
situation. And for some, maybe they are missing you. They want to be with you in that way. But the other thing I'm also picking up is that they are missing you because they're married. Sorry, guys. They're in another relationship.
Oh my God, this just fell out. Unrequited love.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
really feel like it's one-sided in one situation, but they're actually missing you. Yeah, they're stuck, but they need to free themselves.
So then we're gonna do Taurus.
Yeah, sure. All right. I have stuck or free.
Oh, I have community or family, in-laws, parents.
Oh, dang, Taurus. So Taurus, y'all need to really consider, is it time to set boundaries with the family, the community?
Oh,
Like,
you know what? That's what I was talking about with the when you don't have any friends and you're alone a lot and your family
uh-huh.
thinks you're crazy, congratulations. You have broken free of the matrix.
Uh-huh. With a karmic situation.
Right.
Okay.
So
So
then
what's after Taurus?
we have Gemini.
Okay. Ooh. Now I have something interesting. I have avidya, ignorance.
Ooh,
I know, right?
I got options,
Oh.
which is
So
very
we're
Gemini. Yeah.
so they're feigning ignorance, you think, in regards no
Oh,
options like
oh,
Gemini.
this is so Gemini.
That's so
I love
funny.
Geminis. My brothers are Geminis, but they do have a hard time with commitment.
I think they made some sort of sacrifice, right?
I
To
guess. Yeah.
open that door. So after Gemini is
Cancer.
Cancer. Okay. Wow, what's up,
Oh,
Cancer?
I got hurt. Oh, yes. Cancers, they feel everything. They just hurt.
Yeah. I had two cards that came out. It's over identifying with your ego about maybe a friend or a friendship. So, well,
Or
what I'm
betrayed
getting.
by a friend and being hurt.
Yeah, yeah, really like in your energy there. I'm sorry, Cancer. Well, maybe, around this time, it's time to just like kind of let go of that situation, right? With this Virgo full moon. It's
Yeah.
going to be okay. It's
Oh,
temporary.
this one, wait a minute. This one,
Mama boys, what? No more lies.
okay, hold on now. This like flopped out somewhere and I don't even know where it went.
Hmm.
Now that's weird. I'll have to try to find it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I got husband,
Okay, so what are we on?
Leo.
Leo? I got a bunch that came through.
Oh,
I have the inner child, children, childish or childhood. I also have winter, coldness and isolation, about abuse
ooh,
and people pleasing.
that's gosh, I don't even know where it went. Isn't that weird?
It'll pop up when
I got caught up with some papers. I'll
yeah,
find it when I'm least expecting it.
I know. Yeah, so I really feel like with Leo, maybe they've been isolating themselves, really trying to heal their inner child, based on like trying to please other people, but it's possibly from like abuse, right? Yeah, making peace with the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, coming from
very
this Leo, that works. That fits. That explains
okay.
what I'm going through.
Okay.
So then we have Virgo.
Okay. Let's see here. What is the energy for Virgo?
Keep them over a table so they're not flying down the.
Wow. So I have some cards that are actually coming backward, or maybe my deck is backwards.
Oh, this is interesting. Purge or detox. That is so Virgo.
Yeah. Let's see what I get. I have the date or the hookup.
Oh,
So maybe it's just time to just stop dating. Oh, I see. It's because they become impatient. Yeah, that's what I have. So Virgo, you guys need to detox from dating people that doesn't serve you, right?
I wish it were that simple, right?
I know. Let's
So then we
see.
have Libra.
Okay, Libra.
We get forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Let's see here.
Libra, they're the ones that it has to be fair. And they have a
Mhm.
hard time making a decision because they have to weigh, what's fair.
Yeah, about an old or past love.
Yeah.
Yeah, they feel like they were neglected or abandoned.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have fear,
Yeah.
fear of the unknown. So,
Anger.
angry. Yeah, you have to let go of that. Okay, Libra.
So then we have good old Scorpio.
All right, Scorpio. Okay, I have friend, friendly, friendship.
Oh, family issues.
Yeah, I also have here
That's,
karmic partner. So, I guess just you're avoiding. Hmm. Maybe I really feel like now's the time to avoid any kind of connections with, friendships or karmic people and just really sit with
oh,
yourself. Wow. Yeah. For new love.
I
You
just
know,
had a bunch fall. I swear. Change and transformation came up.
yeah. Well, that's very scorpionic.
It is. I think I may have found the one that dropped. It was patience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I need a little patience.
Yeah. Let's see. Then we have Sag. Whoop,
Mm-hmm.
gosh, this came right on out.
Yeah. Me
Oh,
too. I have coldness and isolation. So I guess, just with it's okay to be alone.
yeah.
And just it's okay to not like be with
It's too
people.
peoply out there.
Yeah. Yeah, heal your inner child. Yeah. And I feel like it's a lesson.
Mm.
So that's actually really good. So what is next? Capricorn.
Oh, confusion or enlightened?
Okay. Let's see. What am I gonna get for you guys? What's it come through for Capricorn? I'm a Capricorn, so I'm stubborn. It don't want to come out. Okay. Yeah. Very Capricorn.
Oh,
Desire or attachment to pleasure.
that's funny.
So, I really feel like, attachment is not a good thing. So you have to kind of release that at this time. Just
Yeah.
let it go. Let it go,
Detached from the
Capricorn.
matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, the matrix is not a good place.
Yeah. And I see here the options. Just let it go.
Union.
Yeah, for union. Yeah, just be with yourself. Have union with self. Yeah, wait. Wait for union, guys, okay? It's coming. Capricorns can wait. They're patient.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. They're very patient.
Yeah. But how
Too
patient, right?
patient sometimes.
How many years is it gonna be? Decades. Are we talking like what? How many?
Or how about lifetimes?
I know. Do
I'm
we
not
have to
going to do that this
die?
lifetime. I'm just going to wait till next lifetime.
How many lifetimes?
Oh, here, this is very Capricornian.
Yes, purity, virtue, or innocence.
All right, so then we're going to have Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
I like these new cards.
I do too. They have like so much information,
So for Aquarius, I got soulmate.
and I have the truth. So you guys could be getting the
Oh,
truth from your soulmate. Oh, and I also have deceit and lies.
oh,
So the
wow.
truth about the deception, I really feel like they've recognized what's going on.
And for it to be Aquarius, it's going to be shocking or
Mm-hmm.
very unexpected.
Yeah, in regards to new love, and it could be about a new love, or it could be like a rekindling of a connection. But it's gonna be different for everyone. I really feel like for some, for the Aquarius, the person that they're dealing with actually found like a new love, and that's why they were sad and depressed. And it could be about a husband, okay? And the husband needed to purge and detox from the situation. Yeah, because there was hurt. Look at this. We have boundaries.
Oh, yeah. Forgiveness.
Yeah. So Aqua,
Yeah,
like
they're
they're
going through a
unhappy.
lot. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I've been reading. I did Aqua's reading today, and I think what No More Lies. Aren't you an Aquarius? You got the truth last night. You were pissed. Oh yeah. Well, I guess you're gonna tell me about that, honey, right? So what's after Aqua?
That would be Pisces.
Pisces. Okay, that's last.
Yeah.
Pisces.
Oh, oh, whoa. Summer
Passion.
passion.
Jeez. I have abuse, so maybe.
Oh,
What are y'all into like kinks and stuff? This is what Neptune stuff. Oh, with a husband. I'm getting a
or
couple
a
things
friend of
out of
the
it.
husband.
Yeah, like what, are y'all into
No
something naughty?
boundaries here.
Yeah, Pisces, what's going on in your world? There's
Well,
more than one fish.
you know, if they're not in the ashram, they're drinking.
Yeah, this is what I heard from my brother. Okay, so my brother started playing video games, and he told me, he says, when I get to drinking, that's when it all comes out. I was like, wow. I was like, isn't that nice to know? So that's coming from somebody who is a Pisces, and I wouldn't say he has a drinking issue, but when he gets to drinking, he
Yeah,
says that there's something about the drink that makes
no,
him feel powerful. I'm like,
no
wow.
boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brave. It gives them confidence, right?
Yeah, it's like an energy boost or, like adrenaline rush or something like that.
Yeah.
It's so weird for Pisces. It's like that extra kick, you
Yeah.
know. So, yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
love your new card deck. It's a lot of
Me
fun.
too. So I have a new Oracle deck. It's actually in the mail and I can't wait to release it. It's called Love Notes. So
Nice.
it's a different version of the Scorpio Moon red cards. The very first cards I actually came out with.
Which I
Um,
have those.
oh, okay, yeah. And so this one is a little different. It's a smaller deck too, but it has beautiful love messages in there. So
Aw,
yeah, so I've been a busy bee.
you
And
have
yes, and so speaking of sugar, okay, I wasn't gonna say this earlier, but I'm gonna say it now. I'm coming out with a sugar scrub.
nice.
So you
Nice.
can have your sugar addiction on the
Externally.
outside. And it's gonna be infused with the essential oils that are good for you. So you're gonna get the aromatherapy and you get to feel clean and you get your sugar. So how's that?
And that's a great skin therapy.
It is.
Sure, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's gonna, detox and
Mm-hmm.
scrub, like, the impurities out of your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And for men, you could use it for a shave cream.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different uses, and also it's going to help reduce some of that, inflammation that you're gonna get, especially from shaving. And for ladies, if you want to do a Brazilian no, just
I was going to reach over here. You were talking about messages.
uh-huh.
Okay. Well, I think this is. No, let's see. Do you want messages or well, there's volume 1 and volume 2. Which one do you want?
Oh, okay, I think I have that. Let's see here.
I'm trying to see where your
So I have both. This is volume 2 and volume 1 is
I've been trying to organize my
here it is.
decks. So, okay, and then
Which one do you have?
I have both of these.
Okay, what twin flame yours looks different than mine. Oh.
Isn't that weird?
Oh yeah, you know what? I think she came out with multiple modifications.
So, do you
I
have a 1 and 2?
Yeah, I have one and two, but they look different than yours.
So, you want to pull one from 1 and I'll pull one from 2?
Okay, so I'll do one and you do two.
And I'll do 2. Okay.
Okay, all right.
This is complicated business here.
I know, but hey, at least we got the same decks over here.
No, I thought I was picking up your deck, but it's a little further to reach.
No, you're fine. You should see it. I have a cart of decks.
Yes, I have
I don't know if
boxes
you guys
of
could see it,
decks.
but let's see. How do I do this?
I see it. Yeah.
It's a lot, guys. And thank you all for the ones who donated decks to me. I have plenty.
I used to work at a new age bookstore and they would purge their decks, the display decks.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of
Yeah, I
decks.
actually have like there's a lady, she's a subscriber of mine and she's sending me a bunch of decks. So I haven't seen it yet. So if she's watching, I haven't received it yet, honey. But I do check out the post office a few times a week. So yeah. Okay, so we're gonna pull some
Yes.
messages.
So let's these are decks for romance. So let's ask romantic relationship questions.
Okay, so how about what is the how is the divine masculine thinking about the feminine this evening? Wow, I got a mixture of cards here. They don't belong.
Mine doesn't have anything to say.
That's
I'm
okay.
sitting
Take
here
your
just waiting
time.
for something to come out.
Well, take your time, honey.
Yeah.
I have one message so far.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, how could you still love me after all that I have done? So masculines, you're really thinking about the feminines this evening. You know, after all this time, how could you love me?
I got two. It's it
It
really
really
was
was
me,
me.
not you.
We know.
And I, I hate this one. I just got
I just
caught up
got
in the
caught up in the
moment.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Yeah, I think that was more than a moment.
Yeah, that was like when? I'm just saying.
Part of my research with some of this stuff for this lunation led me to Isaac Newton and the relative, and also Einstein. I was getting into all of these quantum physics types of information. Einstein's birthday was this week, and
Oh, he's Pisces, huh? Or
yeah,
actually, no, yeah, but he's still Pisces, uh-huh.
and so when you say a moment and you process that through quantum physics,
Mm-hmm.
how long really is a moment?
So, I've been getting into like the whole dimensional,
The
I
Merkaba.
guess, yeah, the Merkaba and things like that. Which, guys, if you know what Merkaba means, it means light, body, and spirit.
Mhm.
And I did some research on it, but my mind's fried right now, so I'm not going to be regurgitating that information. But if you look at my T-shirts on my store, then you'll see. I'll probably write a article on it at some point. But yeah, so basically in the 3D plane, everything that we see in front of us is very 3D, and it represents a point in time. But in 4D consciousness, it is like a history. So it's kind of like, you have like your library, like your Akashic records, right? And you can do research on the past, the present, and possibly future events in 4D consciousness or fourth dimension. But in the fifth dimension is a combination of the third and the fourth dimension, where in that reality, everything transcends all space and time. So you can pinpoint a specific, like point in time, but also you can think about the present moment, but also the future.
Mm.
And so with that, okay, in order to really, resonate with the fifth dimensional frequency, it's made of light, and light is energy. And there's nothing heavy that is existing in the fifth dimensional because, of I guess the purity or the innocence or just
They're all one.
yeah, yeah, so it's light energy. That's why everything's so heavy in the 3D.
I think you did really good to be tired. That was
Yeah.
a really good that was a really good breakdown.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, yeah. I know, right?
You were
It's
just
very
kidding us when you said you were too tired.
I know, I know. So, what are we gonna be looking at?
Oh, well, there's probably some divine masculines out there that would like to know what the divine feminines have to say. So, shall we get a divine feminine message for the lunation?
Yeah, sure. Uh, Spirit, please reveal to us the feminine energy. Would you reject me?
That's been there, done that, bought the t shirt. This,
Yeah.
this, it's really hard for me to open up.
Yeah. A lot of feminines are really closed off because they're tired of being hurt by the divine masculines. Masculines always, coming and going out of, in and out of the feminine's life. And
Yeah.
then there'll be a point where the masculines will actually just leave the feminine
Yeah.
for a long time. And so, um, I really think that at this time with the feminines, they want to know, would you reject them, masculine? If they were to come and talk to you. I know that for myself. If I were to communicate with my masculine, like, are you gonna reject me again?
It gets to a point where you're a whipping post and just don't need to be put in that position.
All right, and I think that with the Twin Flame Collective, You have to really remove yourself out of that energy to be that whipping post
Yeah.
and really know what your boundaries are,
Yeah.
so that, you wouldn't be in that position. So, yeah. I think that this is really helpful to really,
I
really
think
kind of.
too, what really gets taken for granted and overlooked, but is so central to the whole philosophy of twin flames is the karmic factor, that
Mhm.
you've known and traveled many journeys. And, the whole thing about separation or whether or not you ever actually have a relationship with someone or reunite. Um, there's that theory of next time, that
Mhm.
people make choices and energy moves on. You don't stay stagnant, um, probably unless you have drug addictions. I mean, there's plenty of substance abuse people that do stay stuck in the same energy. But when you're
Mhm.
trying to, grow and do and be creative, and you have to keep growing and maturing and
Mhm.
seeing things realistically and not through rose-colored lenses, like
Mhm.
Neptune would have us do.
I know. Take off those glasses.
It's hard,
Mhm.
and a lot of the charts that I read for relationships often have a Neptune Venus aspect. And
Mhm.
as it perfects, it is the whole, wondrous sort of romantic illusion. And then as the planets keep moving and getting further apart, the glasses come off, and you see something about someone that you didn't see before.
Mhm.
I think I don't know about divine masculines on this, but certainly for women, we're famous for seeing the greatest potential in a
Mhm.
partner. Like, I don't know if that's the mother and the nurturer in the female energy, uh, but it seems like you're always seeing better for them than they see for themselves a lot of times. And
Mhm.
um, I think it's a challenge processing. Like, I had all these brothers, right? And they were all, you know, um, handsome and had women after them all the time. And they were somewhat male chauvinist about it and were not good at commitment at all. And being, the youngest and the only sister, and I was always very philosophical. I've always been philosophical, and observing that behavior in living in the same family with them, they were really very insecure men. And
Mhm.
that's another contradiction. You see a handsome man who, has
With an
plenty of
ugly
attention.
woman. I'm sorry. I just
Now, I wouldn't go
I just
there.
had to put it out
Where
there.
I was going, I was saying,
Or, I
it's
mean,
like
like.
you think that they must be, full of self-esteem and secure, and but that
Well, that's
behavior,
because they know that if they go for the good-looking woman, that woman could have options, and they don't want that.
well, it just, a lot of the behavior of people that don't commit is just an insecurity, of
Mhm.
not feeling worthy or
So
not
they settle
having
for
healthy
somebody who feels
self-esteem.
like they're gonna just sit there and say, "Okay, okay, honey." And then lo and behold, they're far from that type. They had an agenda.
you know I don't want to make any blanket statements because we're all very complex people, but I
Yeah.
do think if we had to surmise uh, the relationship journey. It is about karma, and
Mhm.
that, free will. People make choices that don't take them in the same direction. Or you could see long-time married people. In my marriage, I mean, a big part of the divorce was we grew differently.
Mhm.
We grew in different directions with wanting different things. And at one point in your life you might have a lot of in common with your partner, and share goals, and time passes, and who knows, what are the choices that each individual makes that makes them want to pursue, like another career, or another home, or another, moving to another state, all those sorts of life decisions. And if you're not on the same page, you're going to grow apart. And
Mhm.
so it's there are no blanket statements, and it's all hopefully to learn our lessons about love and our heart and
Mhm.
compassion. We talked last time a lot about forgiveness.
Mhm.
That's one of the greatest lessons we can all learn. And maybe being involved with people that don't treat you well is just that practice to learn, or practice at anyway,
Mhm.
forgiving someone that broke your heart. And that's a journey in of itself.
Yeah,
um,
that's hard, especially if you have hate towards them, or, you never
I had
gotten
this
over.
conversation with this one of my bosses. He's, I don't know, quite a bit younger than I am, and he was going like this. He's like, he said he was 45, and he's married. He's got a couple of kids, and
Mhm.
from what I can tell, he seems like a really nice person, right?
Mhm.
And so he's like, I don't want to, be personal or anything, but do you have kids? I mean, they don't know anything about me, right?
Oh, right, right.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I never had kids. And is there something about me that I like look like a side chick, because I just seem to meet men that want a side chick, and he just busted out laughing, and I was like, what is that? It's because every guy I ever meet, it's like they're with someone and they want some side chick. And I've never been a side chick. I don't plan to ever be a side chick. But
Uh-huh.
for my entire dating, that's why I've never really met someone to settle down and have kids with, because they're never serious about wanting something stable and meaningful. And
Well, I think that when you say that, it's a really a reflection of yourself, if you wanna look at it that way.
yeah,
Maybe, like, subconsciously, maybe you weren't really portraying yourself that you wanted that, and,
yeah,
you're kinda hiding the fact.
independent. Yeah,
Yeah, through your actions, but not really, seeing that about
yeah.
yourself. So, I've
It's
actually
too
come
late
across.
now.
It's not too late, honey. You still
No,
got some
I'm not
life in
having
you.
any kids, man. I
Well, okay,
don't think
yeah,
it's
not the
biologically possible.
yeah, I'm talking about, like, love,
Yeah,
not
well,
the
that's part
baby.
of the journey, is trying not to let past pain or experiences influence our future. I think that's an
Mhm,
ongoing lesson, and that has a lot to do with these Saturn transits, to help us to grow up and emotionally mature, and not
mhm,
try to take personally what someone you perceive did to you or hurt you. I mean, I bet if you could be a fly on the wall with any of these people that any of us feel hurt us or whatever, I don't think they were sitting there trying to, come up with how can I hurt them the most? They're just
mhm,
like us, trying to live and survive and do what they think is right. And maybe, in our opinion, it was not the right thing to do, but
mhm,
it's not up to us. It's not up to
mhm.
us to decide for another person what's right for them. It's just, as I said to him today, I was like, it's just not the cards I was dealt. I never met someone that I felt secure enough with to have children. And that's a huge responsibility.
Mhm. Let alone a man that's willing to really
Plus, I'm a
offer you
Leo,
a sense
so
of
I'm a child
security.
myself. Leos never really grow up.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
They're always just, big kids at heart.
uh-huh. No, I have a lot of Leo friends.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just kids. We're just
Uh-huh.
children. And so yeah, you just don't know what is your I mean, that's not another thing through astrology charts I find interesting through the nodes is, what are we here to do? Each
Mhm.
individual has a set of gifts and experiences, and hopefully we can figure out, what are we here to do? How do
Mhm.
we grow our soul's um, vibration and um, help others and help ourselves and break from behavior patterns that are generational, you know?
Yeah, taking one for the team. I guess, you can figure it out, like, if you look into, the individual chart, right?
Yes,
Okay, yeah,
yes.
so if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and book a reading with Sunny if you wanna dive deep into, like, if you're, like, in a space, you're in your midlife crisis and you're like, "What am I supposed to do?
The
I don't
next
know."
chapter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, because I've actually had readings with Sunny where I've asked her, I was like, "Well, what is my purpose?" Like, "Can you just, like, clarify for me?" And, just like an outside perspective, not really so much using, tarot, but through stars, and, just seeing, like, where my life is and trying to make sense of, the energy, that I'm going through, and so she's really been helpful in that way, so thank you, Sonny, for that.
I'm really glad. I mean, that is part of my purpose, I think, is a teacher and counselor of sorts. It's what I've done
Mhm.
really all my life. And it makes me feel good to make someone find answers for things that cause them angst or, one of the things I've always said about astrology, um, you might not understand what Saturn opposite Jupiter means. But when someone can sit with you and say, this is the aspect you're being influenced by, this is what it can indicate, and it will be over in, 3 to 4 months, I can watch the relief come from. I've had clients over the years that have been through all kinds of medical avenues to get help for psychiatric issues, physical issues, emotional issues, and didn't think they'd ever come see an astrologer, but they're at that desperate point where all of these traditional avenues of Western medicine has failed them.
Mhm.
And some friend will go, well, hey, I know this astrologer. Why don't you get your chart done? Um, when I was 17, I had my first astrology reading with a woman who ended up being my teacher for like 25 years. And in the first couple of minutes, she said, were you electrocuted when you were 2 or 3 years old? And I was. And I almost died. Well, that's when and I almost fell off my chair because I'm like, how did this woman look at this piece of paper and know that about me? She didn't know anything
Mhm.
about me.
Mhm.
And so at that time in my life, Uranus was transiting a point that would indicate electrocution as a child. So
Mhm.
there's really weird things that you can glean from a chart that are fascinating. And I just know that it helps people feel better about where they are on their path and that
Mhm.
they're right where they should be. That's
Mhm.
another part of the spiritual journey is not to struggle against, Pisces is the fish flowing, swimming against the current. And when we can feel our energy be more comfortable and flow and get our ego out of it, we're much more content and have more time. We're not so rushed or so it's all a big package of just being watchful of our thoughts and being willing to see things from a higher perspective. And in these energies, we're very sensitive physically to our environment. So, what we're taking in, and like you were talking about comparing your different cereals, that's the energy that we're in, is we're having a physicality reactive to our environment.
Mhm.
Whether it's the earthquakes, the floods, the fires, socioeconomic issues, it's affecting us on more than just a mental level. It's physical. And I think it's very interesting how our moral value systems are under reconstruction from what we have been through over the last 2 years. And
Mhm.
sometimes you just have to get through the muck to find the clear water. And some people want to stay in the muck and be numb and not take off rose colored lenses. And that's okay. They'll do another journey of it. Um, a lot of, not a lot, but one of the theories about the twin flame journey is that um, the separation um, is directly related to the free will of whichever party who's not wanting a relationship. um, and you'll get another opportunity in another time and place. So
Mhm.
I think not being so dialed into a particular person in a particular way is a way to free yourself from the anxiety or the hurtfulness of things didn't, go the way you thought you wanted them to.
Mhm. Yeah, just releasing expectation is possibly the best, route, instead of like having this attachment towards a particular person. But I know that, it's really hard to, separate, your thoughts about a particular person, especially if they're creeping in and you're doing your best to really not, dictate your conscious, experience, so yeah.
We're all so complex. There's just there's no right or wrong answers or simple answers. We all just have to try to be as healthy as we can be emotionally and physically, and have healthy boundaries, and recognize when, if your gut tells you something's not right, follow it. Because most of the time we've ignored our intuition, and that's why we've gotten in some ridiculous situation.
Mhm.
So it's hard sometimes to walk away, but I think it's important that we I'm sorry, I'm distracted by a comment earlier with the tea bag and the toothache. You keep the tea in the tea bag and moisten it with warm water. You get it moist, and actually put it in your mouth against your gum and the tooth where it hurts. And
Mhm.
that will take part of the ache away. It depends on how infected it is. But I had someone, it looked like they were talking about not drinking the tea, but the moistened tea leaves within the muslin that it's in. Tannins are activated by the water, and
How about
tannins
this?
help.
If you could write an article about that, that could be
Sure,
helpful,
sure.
to
Yeah.
give like instructions on how. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to integrate more of the health stuff with my blog on the website. This lady is saying medical garden. Yeah. So, one of the interesting things about artemisias
Mhm.
And these plants that are sort of silvery are represented by the moon. Um, every year I do a moon garden, and it's a
Mhm.
moon flower which only blooms at night, and they wake up real big, look like a big full moon, and silver, like artemisias and wormwood plants. So,
Mhm.
on an evening, in the summer, you've got this kind of glowy garden. It's kind of neat. So,
Oh,
uh,
that sounds pretty.
the
I
one,
had a moonflower before, so I
yeah,
know
it's
how
a
big they go.
vine. It's
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a vine, and it's an annual. So finding the hobbies that give your soul peace is really the times we're in,
Mhm.
and maybe taking up something new, or like I think you said earlier, re-energizing some kind of project or hobby you had kind of left behind.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
these are the times we're in, and a spiritual journey is somewhat of a solo journey, and
Mhm.
that's an acceptance you have to come into so that you're not fighting yourself. Like you think you should be in a different situation, or you should this. I had a palm reader tell me one time, don't shouldn't on yourself.
Mhm.
So, these are interesting, exciting times, and you got to just work on keeping your vibration high. Don't let anybody steal your joy. Just know that you're following your intuition and not worried about how someone reacts to that. We usually get in trouble when we're letting other people make decisions for what we should do.
Right. Yeah, I tell that to everybody,
It's
follow your gut.
it's again those expectations and generations and families of you know projection, projecting onto each other about yeah what they should be, instead of just finding that knowingness in yourself about what you need or don't need. So it's,
Mhm.
it's a very, very interesting, very
Mhm.
exciting. Lots
Yeah.
going to be, and a lot of discoveries to be made this year. And
Sounds like it, just a little bit, it's just like a step along the way.
this April, Jupiter Neptune conjunction, um, you can look back about probably 12 to 14 years, and it might be a similar subject or pattern that you'll readdress on a personal level.
Mhm.
And in terms of our world and your life, I mean, it's fantastical. The sky's the limit. You could
Mhm.
fulfill your greatest dream ever. It's a very good time for setting your intention for a heartfelt, sincere desire, and being the energies, the natural energies of Jupiter and Neptune manifesting that. So,
Mhm.
get out of your own way, so to speak.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Well,
good time.
yeah. So, I guess we're gonna cut it off here. Um, let's see here. Is there anything else in the chat before we kind of close out this session? Is there any final questions that anyone has for Sunny before we wrap up this live? Speak now or forever hold your peace. And then if you guys are interested in booking a reading with Sunny, you can go ahead and visit her at linemountainhealing.com, and she'll be more than happy to do a chart for you.
Thank you. No more lies. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're going to have an exciting 2022. Oh, well, that's good. Stress coloring. Oh, okay, that sounds good. Yeah. That would be a one, like mandala
You know,
coloring or something like that.
yeah. And
Mhm.
No More Lies brings up the herbs connection to your pets and animals. And
Uh-huh.
that's very psychic, No More Lies, because that's an area that I'm hoping to develop more,
Mhm.
is because I've been doing research on the crap we feed our animals.
Oh,
under the label that it's, something great. And when you really look down into what it is and what it does in their system, it's not great.
uh-huh. Yeah, I've
And
don't
Virgo
well, I
rules
know that for
animals.
your dogs, right? Don't you have to really baby them and give them real food? Like,
When they were real little, I had some issues, but I have had them on like a gibble kind of thing that's supposed to be, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't believe anything I hear or see anymore from these manufacturers.
well, I think that now I mean, I personally think that you can feed dogs human food, but with with limitations, right? Not everything that we
I have a
eat we
friend
can
that
eat.
feeds her dog only raw food, like raw green beans, raw carrots,
Mhm. Yeah,
all
the animals love, like
vegetables. Yeah.
yeah,
And
I know my dog did.
I want to focus in that area more for pets and because if we're here, if our bottom line lesson here in this journey is to be um, a healed heart and no unconditional love, that is what your pets teach you.
Mhm.
And so, it may take a whole lifetime just to get to that point. Who knows? But I know that my animals have been, my saviors, so to speak, when I can be hurt or mad or anything and just a little bit of time with them and my heart is open and I'm laughing and they bring great joy. And
Aw.
so I would like to focus some time on holistic things. My vet is actually going into the direction of not feeling all these vaccines are necessary for animals or the getting them
I would say
automatically
that.
fixed.
Yeah.
It's always been get your animal fixed, keeps them from getting cancer. And now research has shown that actually keeping them natural and intact with those hormones and what their bodies produce actually makes their immune system stronger. So
Mhm.
we're kind of getting flip flopped here in our society about things that we
Well, I
believe
think
are
it's like we're
taught.
being pumped that we need vaccines, we need like this, I'm not saying that vaccines aren't, whatever, but we're being over, I don't know, over medicated.
Medical tyranny is what I call it.
Yeah, it's like you need this by this age and this by this age. And I know this is TMI, but I recently went to a doctor and they said, "Well, you're at the age where you need a colonoscopy."
Oh
I was
no.
like, "What?"
Oh no. You're never at an age for that. Yeah. It's money. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Do
Oh,
I need that? Do I need a mammogram every year?
because then, now studies have shown women who have done the mammogram all their life, that bit
Mhm,
of radiation is built up enough to cause their cancer. So I
mhm,
just, I just more and more believe in the natural immune system. And if you do things to support your own immunity, then, you know, there's I just don't think there's anything fake out there that you can inject that makes it any better than what you can do naturally. That's just my
mhm,
personal opinion. But I have been through the medical industry with myself and loved ones, and they'll damn near kill you. You know what I
mhm.
mean? And I've had, lots of pets die way too soon. And I have to wonder, in under the auspice of this is what is good for them and what you should do for them. Really, I mean, now there's been 20, 30 years of studies about some of these artificially developed pharmaceuticals, and the research is coming out that
Mhm,
maybe not so much.
mhm.
So these are the ideas in that deconstruction, that Pluto and Capricorn deconstruction of our moral values and beliefs getting rebirthed. and that symbology of Pluto is the god of destruction. Everything is taken down to ash, and then the phoenix rises and soars even further and better. But I do feel like we're in the ash. I don't think our phoenix has risen yet, but it will.
That's good. Well, thank you again, Sunny, for
Thank
being
you
here with us
guys so
today.
much. Yeah, reach out
Yes.
to me at lionmountainhealing@gmail.com. I'm happy to address your questions or check out the website. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share some insights as I see them.
Well, thank you. And I hope everyone has a beautiful full moon tonight. It's raining up here, so it's not that beautiful, but at least I could relax.
Yes, you have the weekend to do it. So it's a good
Mhm.
weekend to get organized, look at your dietary habits, and do some spa services.
Yeah, I already got a head start on that one.
Good for you.
I know.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you all who are here in the chat. Um, it's not loud enough. What? Sorry to hear that. What is going on here? Waiting on.
These comments are hilarious.
Sorry, guys. I'm not reading your comments, but I'm getting wind of a little bit. But anyways, I'm gonna let everyone go because I'm starving.
Well, look,
And
you eat something healthy and nourishing and get some rest, and all is good. And we'll reconvene in a couple of weeks with the new moon.
all right, sounds good.
All
Thank
right.
you again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, guys.
Bye.